Hi there, and welcome to Miriam's Manor. I am Miriam. Thank you guys for joining me back today. So today we are talking about Christmas again, yay! And behind me, I have just finished up my ski lift mountain for my snow village, which I'm super excited about because this was the last major project that I was working on. So now I am that much closer to getting my Christmas snow village put together. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave the list of materials needed for this project in the description. And also, if you have any questions for me, definitely leave me a line in the comment section and I will get back with you. So let me go ahead and walk you through now what I did to create this ski lift mountain. I've enlisted the help of my husband for the first part of this project. He's drilling the holes that the wooden dowels will go into, and we're going to adhere it with some wood glue and let it sit for 24 hours. I am using a wood base because I will be hanging gondolas and ski chairs from my ski lift, and I need it to support the weight of those items. If you will not be hanging anything from your ski lift, you would be safe with putting the wooden dowels directly into a sturdy piece of styrofoam. Now I'm going to be working on creating the base of this mountain. I've got 2 pieces of styrofoam here that I'm going to start with. In this first piece, I have cut out slots that I will be putting inserts into for the slopes. And then the second piece is the base that the entire mountain will be built on. So these inserts go in these little slots. That'll be the bunny slope. And then the one here at the top is actually going to be where the villagers will ski down. So this is going to be the initial base of this. I have kind of angled this at the bottom to kind of match the slope a little bit better, and I'm going to fill that in later down the line. So I haven't glued anything down just yet because I want to create some sort of ledge on the side over here, and I want to make sure that I get all my pieces aligned first before I do any gluing. So I'm just kind of testing this out to see if I like the way this looks here, and I do. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward with gluing this side piece down. Before I add the very last top piece of the ledge, I'm going to go ahead and glue in the bunny slope at this point. I am adding toothpicks to the bottom of this bunny slope and pushing them down into the base to act like stakes to help support this piece and keep it all together. Before I add the last top ledge piece, I have added this clamp to the side, and I'm going to wait for this to completely set and dry before I add that last piece. While I'm waiting on that to dry, I'm attaching my wooden bases using wood glue and styrofoam glue together. So it is the next morning. I let this dry overnight, and as you can see, it's firm in place. It's not going anywhere. My ledge pieces are dry as well, so I am going to cut these back and make some different rock shapes out of these. But before I do that, I'm going to go around to the other side. Let me get you a look of this side. I need to close up this space. So I'm going to take some scrap styrofoam that I have and stuff it inside and then create a wall to cover this. On the side where the ski slope and the bunny slope meet, I also need to create a wall and wall in that side as well. That block of styrofoam in my left hand does have glue on it. I'm using it as my base that I glue all my pieces with. So I've got both of my sides closed in and my ski mountain is really starting to take shape. So I have my hot wire foam factory knife. This is the tool, and let me give you a close-up look of the brand. I absolutely love this tool. It's my favorite thing to sculpt with. So now I'm just going to shape my rocks on the sides and in the front on the ledge. So in case you didn't notice, I am wearing a mask right now. When you cut through styrofoam with heat, it will release toxins into the air. So as a precaution, I always wear a face mask and I sit near an open window if I cut styrofoam inside. I usually go outside and cut either on my back patio or in my courtyard, but my kids aren't home today, so I'm going to go ahead and cut inside and stay near an open window and keep my mask on. My sculpting is complete. I've got my plate of glue here. So now I'm going to create my rock formations. I'm just going to take all of this scrap styrofoam that I just cut off, and that's what I'm going to use to actually create my rocks underneath the plaster. So I'm just going to dip each piece of styrofoam into the glue and stick it on. I'm going to start with this very large piece of styrofoam. I know it's a big block, but I'm actually going to use this to create a little ledge so that maybe I'll put a little animal on it or something. When I'm building any type of mountain, I always like to add really cool features to each mountain that I build. So this one I'm going to use this piece here down at the bottom like a little ledge. And I also have like a small little inset cave area on the opposite side of this mountain. So as you can see, I'm just sporadically placing these styrofoam pieces onto the styrofoam. Each piece is different, which will create different rock shapes underneath the plaster. The reason I do like using styrofoam is it just adheres so much better than paper. Although I do like the look of using paper as well, this just sticks so much easier, and you don't have to get toothpicks or push pins to hold the paper in place until the glue dries. The styrofoam just sets wherever you put it, it just stays there. So it makes it really easy to work with, especially when you're working with such a large area. So I'm done adding the styrofoam pieces. I even added some to the sides where the ski slope and the bunny slope are. So I'm going to let this set and dry for about 45 minutes to an hour before I plaster it. While I'm waiting on those other styrofoam pieces to set and dry, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my stair pattern. This is going to go at the very top of the mountain where the last snow chair will land on the ski lift. This will be the platform that'll be there so that the little villagers can step off and walk down. So I have my stair pattern all drawn up. The staircase is going to go up one way, land, and then twist, and then go up the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this pattern out now. So on this middle stair, you will notice that I accidentally pulled off a piece of that part of the stairs. So what I'm going to do is just cut it off from the other side, save that piece, and repair it. So if this happens to you, don't worry. It's a very easy fix. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down and then fix that stair piece. So I'm just going to add a bit of glue to this, but to hold it in place, since it is such a small and flimsy piece of styrofoam, I'm just going to stick a toothpick through it and it'll all seal together perfectly. With that done, I'm going to go ahead and start to add the rock formations to the front and the sides of this staircase. All my styrofoam is dry, so I am ready to plaster. I have my large bowl with water in it, and I have my plaster strips all cut. Plastering is a really simple process. All you do is quickly wet your strip, and I prefer to start from the top down. So I attach my piece up top and I blend in the top of that edge line first. I will also be re-wetting my fingertips throughout the process. The more wet the plaster is, the easier it is to work with, and also the easier it is to cover those holes within the plaster. I'm going to softly rub the piece around each piece of styrofoam. I want to try to smooth it out as much as I possibly can on my first layer to get rid of the majority of the holes that's within the gauze. So I just will keep re-wetting my fingertips and smoothing the plaster over each rock formation. Now, if you still have holes in your plaster after your first application, don't worry. You can easily close those up on the second layer that you add. Also, your paint will help cover up some of them. So just as long as you get the majority of the holes covered, you'll still end up with a nice finished product. So here's a tip for you guys. At the bottom of your plaster bowl, some of the plaster sinks down to the bottom, mixes with a little water, and it forms this kind of paste. I never clean out my plaster bowl because at the end I like to take this paste and smooth it over any additional holes that I might still have left in my plaster. And you can see just right there in the top how much it really smooths everything out. I am ready to spray paint, and I covered the areas where I don't want the spray paint to hit. My first coat of black paint is almost done. So I spray painted the majority of this mountain, but I do have some pieces like this ledge piece here that I did not spray paint because I didn't cover it with plaster. Styrofoam will get eaten up by spray paint, so you never want to spray paint your styrofoam directly unless you're using specific spray paint for styrofoam, which I was not. So I'm just going to take some regular black paint and cover up the areas that need some paint to cover up the white styrofoam. Also, I always start off my first layer of paint with black paint. I do this because I want to add that shadowy effect in the crevices of each individual rock formation. It gives it a more natural look. So today I wanted to give you guys a closer look of how I mix my paint. So I'm using a clear bowl so I can show you exactly how much paint I use because I don't use a lot of paint with each layer that I add. So for this I'm going to be using about 65% white paint and about 35% dark because I want my first layer of gray to be a dark gray. So this is the color of my first layer of paint, and as you can see I just barely wet the tip of my brush. What I'm going to be doing is gently sweeping across the front of each surface. I'm going to do this throughout the whole mountain. Now I know that you can still see a lot of black over the areas that I've already covered. I do that intentionally because I'm still going to be adding an additional 2 layers of paint. So with each layer of paint that I add, it's going to cover more and more of that black underneath, but still leave some of it exposed. So for my flat surface ledges, I know that I will be covering mine with snow. However, if you wanted to leave yours exposed, I wanted to show you what I do to paint that. I just put some paint on the tips of the brush and gently blot the top of it. And each layer of paint that I add, I'll just continue to blot. So it kind of looks like stony at the top by the time it's done. Even though it's still a flat surface, it does give it a bit of a textured look. Time to mix the second coat of gray paint. I have in the corner my original first color so that I can use that as a baseline so I know how much lighter I want to go up on my next coat. So I am adding this much white paint, and now I'm just going to add 2 dots of black. After giving that a good mix, this is the second coat of gray paint, and I'll put a little next to that first coat so you can see how much lighter I'm going up in color. I'm going to apply this the exact same way I did my first layer of paint. We are on to mixing the third coat of the gray paint. I'm going to use the same amount of white paint that I've been using, but this time I'm only going to add 1 dot of black paint. So that's all mixed up, and you can see how light my gray is for my third coat compared to my first two. Now it's time to add the snow detail. I am taking a capful of white paint and a thin paintbrush, and I'm just going to follow the lines and the grooves of the rock and paint just along the edge line and paint them white so that it'll look like fallen snow. I also add a little snow detail to my stairs and highlight the front lip of each stair. So now it is time to apply the moss. This is the Ashland brand that I got at Michael's. I got it like 3 years ago, and it was $10 for this huge bag, and all of this was filled with moss. I've used this now on probably 8 different projects, so it definitely goes a long way. Now to apply this, I'm going to just use the regular white glue. I've got some in this bowl here. I'm going to add a little bit of water to my mix and stir this up. So after stirring, this is what the texture should look like. So I'm going to paint on the glue and then just stick on the moss, and it is literally that easy. I'm going to go ahead and do this randomly all over the whole mountain. Also, here's a tip for you. If you have an area where you don't like the way your plaster ended up finishing, like I do right here, just stick some moss there. No one will be the wiser, and you'll be even more happy with your finished product. It is almost time to apply the snow, but before I do that, I used hot glue to apply my poles for my ski racing net. So I'm going to show you a few different options on how you can apply your snow and what type of snow to use. So for my ski slope, I am just taking some regular white glue, running it down. I'll take my paintbrush and blend this all in, and I'm just going to use the regular bagged cotton snow. The brand that I use is Buffalo, and I usually pick it up at Michael's. I am gently pulling on the edge of the snow to make it look like it's falling over the side of the mountain. I'm going to be using these Buffalo Snow Flurries. I got this at Michael's for $5, and I'm also going to be using the Woodland Scenics Snowflakes with the Scenic Cement. Now, I'm not quite done with the ski slope, but I wanted to show you another way that you can finish off your snow detail on your ledges as well as the ski slope. All I'm doing right now is spreading some regular white glue, and I'm going to apply snow flurries to the top of them. While I'm spreading the snow flurries here, I'm also going to spread them on top of the bunny slope and ski slope. I am gently pressing the snow flurries into the paint, and next I am going to be spraying this with the Woodland Scenic cement. Now, I'm doing that so that I can seal the snow flurries, but at the same time, while it's still wet, I'm also going to sprinkle on the Woodland Scenics fine snow. I'm going to seal it one last time with another round of the Scenic cement, and I am not going to touch this until about an hour once it's completely dry. So while I am waiting on that snow to dry, I'm going to go ahead and attach my wire for my ski lift. I'm using regular picture wire for this that you can get at Michael's for like $2. I looped it around once, and then I am just taking the excess and looping it around the cord that is coming down. I'm going to take this same cord and just run it all the way through to the end and do the same thing on the other side. I added my ski racing net onto the poles that I had already preset, and now it's time to add the skiers. So what I'm going to do is attach these with hot glue, and I have already separated little holes within the snow where I want them to go so that I can attach this firmly to the base and not the snow. So I'm just going to finish adding the rest of my skiers. I'm going to add some more trees and other little decorations and details that I want to complete the rest of this ski mountain. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Also, please share the video with anyone that you know that might love Christmas villaging as much as we do, or anyone who just loves Christmas. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and click on that notification bell, because now that this project is done, I will finally be able to finish up my 2020 Christmas Snow Village, and hopefully I should have that video dropped in about 2 weeks, so keep an eye out for that. If you have any questions, please leave me a line in the comment section. I absolutely will get back with you. And until I see you again, stay safe, God bless you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.